Hey y'all, this is Kobe R. Rice, and I am back again for another not so weekly creative update. I can't even say at this point it's a monthly or even a quarterly creative update because your girl has been gone for almost a year, which is crazy. I know, but it doesn't matter because I only have about like 12 people who look at this anyway, myself included. So, so I don't feel too guilty. But welcome back to my podcast, my vlog, my journey, so to speak. This is episode number 115 of the epic, fantastical journey of a Black female sci-fi writer. I am Kobe R. Rice, novelist, screenwriter, and I'm trying to think of like actually what else because to be honest, I've been so engrossed in like the other half of my life, which I'll get into in a second, that I kind of let some of my creative projects fall to the wayside, which is very unprofessional of me. But like I'm only one person, so anyway, let's just get into it. Let's just like we're just gonna get the excuses and the craziness out the way. We're gonna just like own up to the fact that like things have been really wonderful and amazing, but also kind of crazy in the past year. And this particular like podcast slash vlog is going to be really short because I really have only been working on a couple of things, which has honestly yielded some really wonderful results, but has also meant that I haven't like been around so much and that I'm lagging and lacking in other areas. So I'm just going to be honest about that. Okay, so what has been going on since I think the last episode that I posted was literally in October 2021. So today is Saturday, August 13th, a little bit before 8 p.m. my time. And that means that I have been away for almost a year, practically 10 months. And in that year, I actually, if you like probably don't even remember. I remember looking back into what I promised I was going to do in October going forward. I actually was able to meet four out of the six goals that I established for myself. And the other goals are still like in progress and in process. But some amazing things have been happening. So I'm just going to get into it. So where we last left off was in October. I was really slowing down in 2021 because I really do love to slow down and enjoy the holidays. I work pretty hard most of the time. This past year has definitely taken that in a different direction, but I work pretty hard most of the time, and I like to take the end of each year from October all the way to December to really just like slow down and enjoy like the changing weather. Like I love the fall. It's my most favorite season ever. And I love to watch the leaves change, being that like, I live in New England, New York or whatever, the New England area. We have a lot of that fall beauty, that autumn beauty that's coming out that I really, really, really love and enjoy. So I enjoy the weather a lot, doing the birthday for my little one, Halloween, no, Thanksgiving, and then of course the holidays. And these holidays are going to be lit. I'm super excited for our holiday plans, which are going to remain a secret, obviously, because you got to keep a lot of things to yourself, to keep things safe and also more fun. Um, but I did stop to enjoy the holidays, and that is going to happen once again this year. But the thing that I have most been focusing on is me building up and launching the film program at my school that I work at, which as of today, between October of 2021 and literally today, actually turned out to be a massive success. We ended up getting several cameras and lots of camera equipment, sound equipment. Hopefully, this coming year, we can invest in like lighting equipment, but that's going to be mostly up to them, and you'll see why in a second. But we were able to invest in equipment, and I literally tailor made the class to teach my scholars, my students, screenwriting, development, pre production, storyboarding, script breakdowns, just everything on how to develop, pre produce, and then actually produce and shoot and then edit their own films. And so we actually did end up getting some editing software, which I really love. It's an online editing software called Video, which I really enjoyed. And they really enjoyed and they found it really easy to use. And because we were able to create a really wonderful flow and pipeline, my scholars were actually able to complete 14 1 minute student films, and I'm so excited for them. So I think I was teaching a little under maybe 90 students for the year. And I divided those students up. Rather, they divided themselves up into their own mini production houses. They named their production houses. They created a mission statement and a genre focus for their production houses. Then they wrote screenplays for their production houses, and then they had the opportunity to read each other's screenplays and option, so to speak, quote unquote, option other screenplays from their peers if they wanted to use their screenplay instead. And so from there, they then ended up shooting their own mini films, their own 1 minute films. And I'm so proud of them. And not only did they end up shooting their own 1 minute films, but they undertook a really intense study of professionally shot 1 minute films so that they knew what kind of structure they could be using. So it was such a massive success and they had so much fun. I had so much fun. They were super into it. There are some kids even now who are going to be looking into like other programs in the city to continue their education in filmmaking. And I'm just super excited that I was able to help them develop that opportunity for themselves and that I was able to help them produce. Essentially, like I'm like the producer of these 14 films, but they are the writers, they are the directors, they are the cinematographers, they are the editors, they are the marketers of their own films. And it's really fantastic. So if you were wondering basically why I've been gone for so long and what I've been doing for this past year, I have been building a film program and it was successful, and I can't even take like full credit for it because my students really stepped up to the plate and kicked a whole lot of ass, and I'm so proud of them. Um, and I think in addition to the actual finished films that they created, we also did this project called the DP Matrix. I worked for a charter school network called Democracy Prep, and I'm not going to tell you which school. There's like several schools under the umbrella of Democracy Prep, and we were studying the Matrix as a part of our film study and knowledge building process. And after we were done studying the Matrix, I took screenshots from some really great key pivotal moments in the movie, and we created a gallery walk of screenshots. And then I gave my kids the cameras and I said, now, using what we have in the classroom, you have to recreate these shots from the Matrix. And some of them were very challenging, and they really did that using our Canon cameras. The Matrix was shot with some very high-end professional equipment, yet and still my scholars were able to understand, things like shot distance, shot type, close-ups, medium close-ups, and they were able to completely recreate and recompose the shots from the Matrix into their own shots using the same types of like depths of field and everything. I was so excited. The final product looked so good. So we developed a lookbook called the DP Matrix, which has like, I mean, you'll see kids using staplers in place of guns, like in the lobby shootout scene to like simulate the weapons that were used in the scene. You see kids like using little balls of paper as bullets like when the bullets are flying and debris is flying. I mean, these kids literally made $1 out of not 50 cents but 10 cents. And I'm just, as you can tell because I'm gushing about them, with that project and then their final 1 minute films, I am so incredibly proud of them. They are officially filmmakers and screenwriters and producers and directors, and at least 5 to 7 of the scholars in my class are definitely continuing their education. One of them is going to be trying to apply to and enroll in Ghetto Film School. It's literally an organization called Ghetto Film School that provides these types of classes and seminars and equipment and experiences to high school kids in underserved areas. And so I do know that a few of my scholars will be applying to those particular organizations and also continuing their study themselves going forward, which I'm so excited about. And I think for me, the most exciting part is that I could introduce them to a medium that they can express themselves through, which is film. And, I don't really know many high schools that have film programs, especially high schools that are in underserved areas with underserved communities. So it's my dream that every high school could have a film program along these lines. Um, but the crazy thing that came out of that, which was shocking and also like pleasantly surprising to me, is that as I'm working on building this beautiful program at Democracy Prep, I actually ended up getting headhunted for a school leadership position at a different charter network. So I have actually officially and unfortunately said my goodbye to my former school, Democracy Prep, and now I am working at a different amazing charter network in Brooklyn. And I am officially the Dean of Students and Enrichment at this new charter network. So, as you can imagine, um, this entire year thus far has been really sweet with a tiny sense of bitterness. I mean, when I say bittersweet, I do mean mostly sweet with a slight tinge of bitterness, only because, like, I really loved and I still love my kids, my colleagues, the program that we built together at Democracy Prep, and it was incredibly hard for me to say goodbye. Um, it was very hard for me to say goodbye, especially to my kids. And that was a challenge. But I did it. And then I ended up moving forward. And of course, I'm going to go back and visit them pretty much anytime, as many times as I can. But the new place that I'm working at, I am now officially like growing into this role as a school leader, which I'm still kind of floored that I am working in at this level and so quickly as well. And I don't say this braggadociously, but I actually have only been in the game, in the education game, for about 3 years as a teacher. And I made the jump from teacher to school leadership position, which is like, what I'm holding now as a dean. And the change is very, very stark. It's exciting because I love my team, I love my school, I love the actual location and our resources. I mean, I'm super amped and I cannot wait to meet the kids that I'm working with. At the same time, when you move, when you change levels, sometimes there's like a little bit of turbulence, right? Like, and for me, it's been inner turbulence of, I really want to be on point. I want to be an asset. I want to contribute. I want to be a positive influence. I want to be a positive presence. I want to be the thermostat as opposed to the thermometer in the room, where like my energy, my passion, like me leading with love, me leading with purpose, me leading with, vision is setting the standard. And, you know, like I'm going to be in a position where people are going to be looking to me for guidance and for input. And I just like, it's just how do I say? It takes some getting used to being in a slightly different position, especially one of like authority. And for me personally, I am developing my more, what they call like my demand. Apparently, I have the warmth and the kindness and the sweetness down pat, but I have to hone and develop my demand, so to speak, so that I am making sure that my teams that I'm in charge of are executing appropriately. And that's very, very challenging to balance when you go from being a teacher straight into a school leader, but then also when you are integrating into an environment that is new, and people who are already there, they know, like, the environment and this, and just like the people and the kids way better than you do. So it's always a like really interesting balancing act, right? Between asserting like who you are and like standing in your purpose, but also being like flexible and malleable and humble. That's like my keyword for the literally for like the whole year and going forward. It's just humility, balancing all of those things to be a leader who is learning and trying to get to know her environment, but who also can drive forward a vision and drive forward a very positive, proactive, productive culture. And so I say all that to say that I'm super excited about this new opportunity. And just again, like really amped to contribute to the community around me. And at the same time, I am trying to balance out what has fallen to the wayside a little bit, which is like my creative aspects of my life. So I guess we'll get into that as well, because that still is very much a massive part of who I am and how I identify. And so just keeping up with like, just starting with the basic things that I enjoy doing just to decompress, like painting, learning piano and practicing piano, and going to the bigger things such as like my creative writing, right? My scripts, my feature film script, When in Rome, and the fourth book in the books of Ezekiel, those are still very much in progress. And I'm going to be honest, like, part of me is feeling a little bit guilty. Oh, and then I'm working, sorry, just FYI, I'm also still working on that um, independent sci-fi TV series that I'm contracted for. So those three things, are like really sitting on me, and that's like me, those are the things that I'm working on like day by day. But at the same time, I'm trying to do my best to like strike a balance, and I'm finding it challenging because essentially what I've seen in my life, and kind of like the universal law in a way, is like whatever you focus on will grow. And for me, it's been a lot easier focusing on one thing at a time to make that grow before I move on to like the next project, so to speak. So I last year, from October all the way until this June of this year, I focused on growing the film program at Democracy Prep and making it the best it could be. And we did that. We like killed it. We did that. And then I had the pleasant surprise of, being pursued for another opportunity. And so, of course, I want to put all of my focus in being the best leader that I can be and do what I have to do. But I also don't want my creative life to fall to the wayside. And so I'm trying to find a way in which I can make both my focus without these things conflicting with each other, and also without letting other things fall to the wayside that are important, like sleep and healthy eating and like exercise and just self-care and time with my child, because mothering is a whole different, you know animal. I mean, it's a part of your life, but it's a very specific track as well. That in and of itself can be and is a full-time job. There are people who literally spend every single waking moment being a parent as a job and like that's a thing. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I wish we had cloning. I wish cloning were a thing, because then I could just like put one clone on like all of my writing projects, the other clone on just focusing on my work as a leader, and the other clone, being like a full time mom, and then like doing hobbies and doing trips and excursions with my child. Like, those would be the three clones, you know what I'm saying, that I would have out in the world. But since we can't do that, I'm just going to have to find my progress through habits. And so that's going to be in addition to, of course, me showing up to work 1,000%, not 100, not 200, but 1,000% every day for myself, for my teams, for my first team and other teams. In addition to that, my primary goal is to just focus on developing hardcore habits that just essentially build up into like a critical mass, right, of success, if that makes sense. Essentially, like with anything, that comes, I mean, that's including like exercise, honing your craft, writing a book, writing a screenplay, writing a TV series. Literally, your success in these areas are an amalgam of your day to day habits. As they say, how you live your days is how you live your life. And so instead of me trying to focus on that one massive thing that I'm like going 1,000% on every single day, as much as I would love to do that, I have to keep a balance between my life, between the different things in my life, rather. And the only way I can really do that is to develop really, really repetitive daily regimens and habits that build up into the final novel, that build up into the finished screenplay, that build up into the finished TV series, and that build up into all of my responsibilities as a school leader and as a dean of culture and enrichment. So things are going really well. I don't really have any complaints. I'm actually a little bit scared about how well things are going, because sometimes when things are going well, that's when all the crazy comes down and starts, dragging you by your edges or whatever. um but it doesn't matter, because I heard someone once say that happiness is wonderful, but what you're really aiming for in life is being content, right? Because like being happy or like giddy every single day is not necessarily possible, but being content and satisfied and grateful, that is something that is very much long term and longitudinally possible, as long as you are stable, steady, and you're reflective and you are actively grateful, which is what I'm definitely trying to channel every single day. So at current, I am super grateful for all the opportunities that I have and that I've had. Um, I'm grateful for the wonderful summer I've had, because even though I love enjoying wintertime and holidays, the summer has been fantastic as well. As you can see, right? I have the hair out. The hair is out. The hair is doing it. And that will probably not, I'm going to be honest, that's probably not going to last, because school is very quickly coming. It's going to be start. Well, now my hair is going kind of crazy, but school is going to be starting very, very soon. Literally in about 11 days, we're going to have kids in the building, and I'm going to be meeting new kids, and things going to be in full swing and crazy. And there's no rest for the weary before then either, because there's a lot going on. But in the meantime, as much as I can in the next 11 days, I'm going to enjoy the time that I have to do my hair and put these delightful afro puffs out, even though now they're looking kind of crazy, but that's okay. I love it. But yeah, so life is just kind of about like just enjoying and living and doing your thing. And as much as I want to improve like my efficiency and my speed in the things that I love to do, which include writing, I also realize that life is a process, and I'm just gonna focus on developing those habits. So that's me, y'all. I've been talking for a good almost 25 minutes. I'm gonna end it here because now I'm gonna start rambling if I don't. But it was lovely to come on. I'm gonna try my best to give you guys an update if I can. I don't know when, where, or how the update is gonna come, because again, I'm starting a new school year at a new school. I'm also trying to get some projects finished, and trying also to like not be fired by my manager and producer if they haven't fired me just silently already. So we'll see. But I will be back as soon as I can be back with some more updates. All right. So take care. Keep writing. Keep it indie. Stay badass. And I will talk to you guys next time. Mwah. Bye.